Hey everyone, I keep running across comments like this. People wanting to quit their jobs because they've been making a lot of money on DoorDash. Now, I've asked myself the same question before. At one point, I was making a lot of money. By a lot, I don't mean a lot. I mean enough to the point where I thought I was happy being my own boss and, working whenever I wanted to. I could work in the morning, work at night, work, a few hours here, a few hours there. And throughout the week, I could make my money, and I was making it similar to what I was working at a full time job. So at that point, I was thinking I could quit my job and just be independent. And let me tell you, it's a horrible idea. DoorDashing is a great side gig. It's a great part time job, but it is not a great full time job. Now, you could make a lot of money, but there are a lot of things that could happen that are out of your control that could affect you. And honestly, in this economy, it's kind of hard to get a job nowadays. So I want to go over a few things that could affect this. So just if you're in this position that you would like to quit your job and do DoorDash full time, just watch this whole video and let me know what you think. I might be wrong. I mean, it seems that every day more people sign up for DoorDashing, more and more people, and more people quit than that because it's not the same like it used to be during the past between 2020 2023, those years where it was very busy, everyone was staying home. It was busy, there was a lot of bonuses, and everyone stayed busy all day. But nowadays there's too many drivers out on the road, there's a lot of people out there waiting for orders, and it's just not worth it. So for once, let me tell you this: with a full-time job where you work, like I'm gonna put an example as me. I work from 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning. You know, during the week, it's a stable job. I just have to go in, clock in, do my job, clock out, go home. I know that I'm tied to that place the whole day. I can't, work 3 hours here, 4 hours there, and then, get a break in between. I can't do that. But it's also a secure job with benefits. At my job, I can get medical, dental, vision. I can get insurance for my wife, for my kids. I can get all these benefits, and also they match me a 401k. All these benefits are not available with DoorDash. And also at your job, they take all the expenses for the state and federal. They take it out of your paycheck right away. With DoorDash, you have to keep track of it, and you have to keep track of mileage and deductions and all of that. It's a lot. Plus, if you're driving your vehicle, you have to, do oil changes, do maintenance, do all of this, and it adds up. And even if you could make, let's say 1 week, if you could make 500, 700 in a week, 1,000 in a week, where honestly, there are people out there. I keep seeing people from, like in California, New York, some states, where they do DoorDash and they make a lot of money. And not by a lot, I mean a lot. But they also have some programs in those states where they get little bonuses. So if you look at those screenshots they share, they also share, it has like their pay, it has their tips, and a lot of these states, they have, an extra bonus payment because they're working in that state. Now, most states don't offer that. I live in Georgia, and here we don't have none of that. But, I've been doing DoorDash on the side for the past couple years, and I mean, the most I've made was a couple hundred a week as a part-time job. I tried doing it full-time one time when my wife got surgery, and I was home for a month. I was taking care of her, and I did it for a month. And let me tell you, I mean, it's not very consistent. It really is not. Um, you could get an order, in an hour. You could get 3 orders in an hour, and then you could go, a whole hour or two without any orders. It depends on if there's drivers out there. It depends if people are ordering food. And if you're in a small town like me, then you run the risk of there not being enough orders. So, for example, I live in a very small town. In my hand, I can count the restaurants we have here. We have McDonald's, a Taco Bell. We have a Burger King, Pizza Hut, a Dollar General, and they recently added a coffee place, Starbucks. And you know, those places, they're good restaurants. I mean, a lot of people know about them. A lot of people order from there, but they're not restaurants that stay busy. Constantly with orders for carry out for delivery on these apps because I live in a very small town, and that's a fact in a lot of these states. In rural country, it's we don't have a lot. If you live in a big city, you can stay busy, but it's also inconsistent. And let me tell you something else. Um, there's a lot of bad people in this world. Now, by that I mean that there's a lot of people that tip. They're great tippers. They are grateful, and I appreciate that. We all appreciate good tippers. But there's also people out here that, they're just bad people. That people where you could deliver the food, and then right away, like right then or the day after, they could go and say, "Well, I never got it. I never got my delivery." And they cry and complain to DoorDash, and DoorDash will simply just give them a credit, refund them the money, even though they got their food, and they will just, give you a mark, like a violation on your account. And if you get a couple, which is very easy to get, even if you deliver the food correctly, there's a lot of times that people will just lie, and you could lose your job. And that's something to think about. If you're doing DoorDash full time, and that's your main source of income, if one day someone lies and says that well, he never delivered my food, so I want a refund, and they're all happy, they got their $5 back. But DoorDash says, well, you keep stealing the food, even though you're not, they will deactivate you. Which means they will just lose your only source of income, and that sucks. So to that point, is it worth it to do DoorDash full time? Honestly, it depends on your market. But I would honestly say no. A lot of times, if you have another part-time job, you could do DoorDash basically full time, on the side of that part-time job. But you want something that's stable and do DoorDash, as a side gig. And I just can't see it any other way. All these companies, they don't really care about, you having benefits. They don't care about giving you, paid time off. They don't care about giving you little bonuses for, none of that. Every single year that goes by, DoorDash gets worse and worse. They take stuff away. They make the app glitchier and glitchier. And something else. When you start doing DoorDash, you will notice that you're getting order after order. You're busy. You're getting, you're staying busy all day. You're getting a lot of offers. A lot of offers where you're thinking, oh boy, this is a great job. It's a lot of money. But that's the honeymoon period. That's the little, they give you all the little honey. They keep you busy. They keep you happy. But then after a week or two, after a couple of weeks, someone new will join DoorDash. Someone new will be that person that they will be pushing all the orders to, and then will be pushed further and further back from the queue, where to the point where you're not getting offers. No, so I'm not saying this because I'm not getting offers, which I'm kind of not, because I'm still doing DoorDash. I'm still out here doing it every now and then. Tonight I did about $40, $47 within 2 hours. But that's only accepting offers that I could choose that actually, were worth it for my time. So with these offers, I was able to make this money. And I was able to, get this money and be profitable. Because a lot of times when these people, quit their main job, they can only rely on DoorDash, and they need to pay the bills, and you gotta pay the bills, and you gotta pay this and that and everything. Well, many times they just take every single offer to the point where sometimes you're not even making money. I've seen people take offers that are like $4, $4.50, which is basically $2.25, $2.50 for the DoorDash base pay, plus maybe a $2 tip, or it's a very low amount. And they have to go wait in the restaurant. They have to wait for 10, 20 minutes in drive-thru. They have to wait. They have to go into traffic. They got to drive their car, causing wear and tear in the vehicle. They have to do all of these things for only $4 or $5. And by the time they get to the customer, they're not really making money. So I keep seeing people talk about this online. So I just wanted to make this, it was supposed to be a short video, but I'm past 10 minutes. But DoorDash is a great job if you do it as a side gig. As a full time job, it's very risky. It's very risky. Now for me, I work in a warehouse. I work in a warehouse where I do manual work, and that's just a stable job. There will always be need for that. But you know, I just don't like relying on that one day DoorDash could say that something was broken. That the restaurant gave me the wrong stuff, because many times these bags are sealed. Well, not many times, all the times. When you go to a restaurant, all these bags, they're supposed to put a seal on it. They're supposed to close them up, and so the dasher can't go in, grab the food with their hands, which I completely agree. Because if I was ordering DoorDash, and I've ordered in the past, like I'll be at work and my wife says, well, hey, the kids would like this. I'll be like, hey, I'm gonna DoorDash it, and I've done it. And when they deliver it, the bags are sealed, which I love, because I just can't. I don't like the fact that you know if these weren't sealed, they would just go in there, move stuff around. I don't like that. But customers, they gotta understand that the bags being sealed is a great thing for them. But we can't see inside of there. But many times they don't understand that, and if something's missing, if they order something and it's missing, even though it's not our fault, they could go in there and write a review, or say they never got their food, which would cause a violation on you, which could get you suspended from DoorDash, which will cause you to lose your source of income. So in the end, it's a great part-time job. It's not a great full-time job. Well, it's really not. It's very risky. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give my opinion. I keep seeing that comment online, being brought up. They should quit their full-time job to do DoorDash. If, they're, because right now they're making all this money. I wouldn't. Just something to think about.